Okay. Why am I doing this? Look, this is something that I hate doing. I genuinely hate doing this. Look, 2 years ago, or actually, no, not even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I had no problem doing this because generally I was still early on in this and I still had teams that I disliked. Now, it's really difficult to rank all the teams from 32 to 1. 1 and 2 is consensus. Like, there's no doubt. My 1 and 2 were the easiest of them all. But everything else from 3 to 32 is extremely difficult. Ranking the other 30 teams in the league, it's hard. Um, Mainly because of how I don't want to piss anyone off, and I'm not trying to say I want to satisfy satisfy everyone and have be valid by everyone, but I don't want to create this narrative either that that I hate a certain team. Like, let's say I ranked, I don't know, Pittsburgh 32nd, which was actually accurate at one point because if you know what a team I'm a fan of. But, let's say I had Pittsburgh 32nd. Penguins fans are going to think that I hate the team and that whenever I come on here to talk to Penguins, it's not going to be genuine because I'm just going to be biased. No, that's really not how I base my content off of anything anymore. Back in the day, probably when I was like, 12, 13 years old. Now I'm 16. No, I don't run my content like that anymore. But trying to rank them from 32 to 1 is still very, very, very difficult. So I'm going to go from 32 to 1. We're going to go in that order. None of you get mad at me. I made this little disclaimer at the beginning of the video. I don't hate any team. I genuinely don't. I like every team. I like talking about every team. I like coming on here, talking about, streaming about, playing every team. I just love hockey overall, honestly. And you see all of the different pennants, all the different jerseys, the different hats, the different pictures up on the walls. I'm a hockey guy at heart. So don't take it as an offense if I hate your team. I don't hate you as a person. I don't hate any fan bases as a person, except for some. I might bring that up and a reason why they're so low. But I do want you guys to keep that in mind 100%. So 32. And 32 is, of course, the hardest one because that means that they're my least favorite team. And that is completely false. I don't have a least favorite team. But if I had to rank them, this is what I would have. At number 32, I have the Vegas Golden Knights. And people are going to be shocked by that. Mainly because if you found out what my favorite team is, and I'm not going to say it because some people may not know, but 32 is Vegas, mainly because of how much they've won. Mainly because of, since I came into hockey in 2017, Vegas actually started out that very first year in 2017. And honestly, if I look back to then, they're actually towards the top of my list. Because I really enjoyed their run to the Stanley Cup Finals. I thought it was awesome. But then in the years following, when they still were successful when other teams, like my teams, weren't, and there's a form of jealousy there. Of course there is. Of course, I want my team to be as good as Vegas is. But, just the fact that I've seen them go to the conference finals 4 of the last 6 years I've been a hockey fan and win the Stanley Cup in one of those years and also make the finals twice, when seeing neither of my teams go further than the second round, it's difficult to like them, but I'm not saying that I heavily dislike them. I would just like to see another team win more. And same goes for number 31, where I have the Tampa Bay Lightning at 31st. And the Lightning being at 31 is solely because of the fact that they've won a lot in the past couple of years. Yeah. Honestly, it is not because of the players. It is not because of the fans. It's not because of the management. In fact, I like Tampa Bay way more than I do Vegas when they were winning those cups. Way more, because I enjoyed Nikita Kucherov. I enjoyed Steven Stamkos. I enjoyed the rentals they brought in, like Blake Coleman, David Savard. Andrei Vasilevsky is one of my favorite goalies in the league. I, in fact, still think Vasilevsky is the best goalie in the league. I like Tampa Bay a lot. And the fact that I have them at 31st is a little bit stupid, but if I ranked them higher, people would be like, oh, well, they've won so much in the past couple of years. Why are they ranked so low? So that is part of it. But it also is because I would like to see other teams win. And when you see the teams that are up higher on this list, you're going to agree with me. Number 30. And honestly, it'd be a crime. It'd be a personal crime if I put them higher than 30th. and that is the Pittsburgh Penguins. And that is not because I don't like the Penguins. That is not because I hate Sidney Crosby. Not at all. For those who don't know, I am a Philadelphia Flyers fan, so there goes my number one team, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Of course, I'm not going to like Pittsburgh, but it's not, I wouldn't say that I don't like them. I actually really enjoy Pittsburgh. I enjoy watching Pittsburgh. I love watching Sidney Crosby play. I love Jake Gensel. I love Tristan Jarry. I love the fact that they brought in Kyle Dubas. It makes me like the team even more. I love the way they're going to build this core or build this team around the Crosby core still and maybe go and try and get one more Stanley Cup. I like it a lot, but it'd be a crime for me to put them above 30th. And I think Penguins fans would mutually agree with me that it would be a crime. So I don't hate Penguins fans. I have a lot of friends that are Penguins fans, so there's no question there that they're not. I don't hate them for that reason, or I don't have them this low for that reason. Definitely not. It would just because it'd be a crime if I put them any lower or any higher. 29 is the New York Islanders, and the Islanders are mainly because of just the way that they play hockey, kind of, but it's not in a bad way necessarily. And of course, they did beat my team in round 2 of 2020. I was 13 years old. I was a softie. You look at the videos way back in the day when we lost to the Islanders. I was just flaming them so hard. But after that, in that series against Tampa in that third round, and then the third round against Tampa in 2021 as well, I gained a lot of respect back for them. I thought in like when we played them, I hated them. I thought like they were the worst team ever. Oh, they suck. They only won because we didn't play well. No, they took Tampa to pretty much the brink in both years. Even though the first year in 2020 was 6 games. Yeah, and even like before that too, before beating my team, they were actually really high on my list. But again, it'd be a crime if I put them any higher than 29. So I think Islanders fans can agree with me. I have a lot of good Islanders fan friends. There's some genuinely good Islanders fans out there, even though they can be pretty rowdy. And Flyers fans as well can be pretty rowdy. And there's other fan bases that have many rowdy fans. So it's not uncommon, but I think that, I really enjoy New York. I like Barzal. I like Oliver Wahlstrom. I liked it when Barry Trotz was there. I like Ilya Sorokin. I like those guys that are in New York. It's just difficult to rank them higher than some of the other teams. But I was definitely rooting for them against Carolina. I wanted to see an upset, and I thought that was going to be the upset, but it was not. Number 28 is the Winnipeg Jets. And the Jets really, and we're starting to get into that territory where I don't have any reasons for why these teams are this low. It's only because I had to put them this low. And the Jets with me, they're going into an interesting spot right now. They're going into a position where, they're not going to be as good. They're going to have to sell off Scheifele, Dubois, Hellebuck. They're going to have to sell off some of their players. So, of course, when I look at that, I think to myself, well, is this team going to be very fun the next couple of years? No. So that's partly why they're ranked that low. But I do like the Jets. They have a very cool name. My podcast partner, Carter, very good friend of mine. He's a Jets fan, so there's no question there that there are some components that I like about the Jets, but of course there are also some components that I don't like, and that, they'll be definitely higher in future years. Absolutely. Number 27 is the Toronto Maple Leafs. And look, the Toronto Maple Leafs is for a few reasons. And I know why, and look, I rooted for them against Tampa. I rooted for them against Tampa both back-to-back years. I rooted for them against Montreal. I rooted for them against Boston. I kept rooting for this team, and every year they let me down. Every year they would just be like, "Nah, Nordic, we're not doing any. We're not gonna win." And is that part of the reason why they're so low? Yeah, because every time I either bet for them or I root for them, they let me down. Which I bet Leafs fans can agree with me there. That is usually what happens. But hey, seeing them beat Tampa last year was awesome. I'm finally glad they broke that curse, even though it meant they had to make some management changes, and there could be some changes made to the core four. And I've come on here and talked about it multiple times, over like 60 times, in fact, because I've been keeping track of how many videos I make for each team. And having them this low is a little bit difficult, but it's mainly because of just the amount of times they've let me down. I love Austin Matthews. I love Mitch Marner. I love William Nylander. I love Matthew Knees, an up-and-coming player. I liked Matt Murray. I liked Ilya Samsonov. I liked Nazem Kadri when he was there. I liked a lot of the players that are in Toronto, so that's definitely something to keep in mind there as well. 26, St. Louis Blues. And St. Louis, you can factor in for the reason why Arizona Coyotes. Yes. In 2021, when they beat us for that fourth seed, I was pretty pissed off. But then again, they got swept by Colorado, so I was just like, that would have happened to us. So whatever, no big deal. But yeah, St. Louis, I really like the direction where they're going. And if I do this next year, big if, I don't know if I'm going to do this next year. I might, but I might not. If I do this next year, that will be higher. Absolutely. I love Jordan Kyrou. I love Jacob Vrana. I love the future they're building. I love a lot of the guys they're putting together, and I think they have a really good future overall. Absolutely. 25, the Nashville Predators. The Predators, again, were a team that, they have a lot of high contracts, a team that is not very eventful. They're kind of a team that's easily forgettable, if I'm being completely honest. I think a lot of NHL fans agree with me. But I like a lot of the guys they have coming up. I like Tommy Novak. I liked Ilya Tolvanen, but he's obviously with Seattle now. I like a lot of the players they have, and I said a lot in Predators videos this year. I said that this is a team that, they barely missed out when they had so many injuries just piled on top of each other over and over, and that plays a huge factor in why they're higher than they probably would be if they either missed by a lot or made the playoffs. So, genuinely being honest with you there. Number 20 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Jackets, they had a really bad season. I actually kind of felt bad for them at points because everything that could go wrong went wrong last season. And that kind of plays a role in why they're low, because they're also a team that I kind of forget about. I wish Bedard went there. I really wish the Jackets got the first overall pick and Connor Bedard went to Columbus. Not because of how I want to see Columbus be better, but it's because it would grow the NHL. It would grow hockey in Columbus, seeing a generational talent like Connor Bedard go to a city like that, one of the lower populated cities in the league. Seeing him go to a team like that, I think, would definitely be a good thing for the NHL. But Jackets 24th, 23rd, the Anaheim Ducks, and I love the Ducks' future, but again, they were a team that had a pretty bad season, so I didn't watch them all too much. But Anaheim, Trevor Zegras, Mason McTavish, whoever they're going to get in this year's draft, whether it's Fantilli, Mitchkov, Carlson, who knows at this point. But yeah, I like Anaheim a lot. I love watching them play, but they were a team that was bad this year. And even though they were bad, they did sell out a couple games. So definitely a team that you're looking forward to in the future. Number 22, the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks, I enjoyed the Sharks very early on. Before I started this YouTube channel, at the year I started this channel, they were bad. And they've been bad since. But before that conference finals run in 2019, that series against Vegas, the second round run in 2018, the conference final run in 2019. Trying to think. What else have I seen? That's actually it. But back then with like Patrick Marleau, Joe Thornton, I really enjoyed San Jose a lot. And Joe Pavelski, Tomas Hertl, Logan Couture, Timo Meyer. They were a fun team back then. And it really stinks they didn't win a Stanley Cup. It really stinks, genuinely. So it does stink. And looking at and I didn't even realize this, looking at Stanley Cup champions, you got Golden Knights at 32, Lightning at 31, you got Blues at 26, and then the other ones I haven't mentioned yet. So that's 4 of the 6 Cup champions that I've seen in the past couple of years. So we only got a few more left. But Sharks, I like them. And I think that, as they grow and develop, I think they'll have a much better future. 21, Chicago, and with Bedard going there, they will be higher next year. But Chicago, a lot of what downed them was the situation with Patrick Alvin, Scotty Valman, Joel Quenneville, Kyle Beach, that whole situation. That was not something that I thought fondly of with Chicago, but I liked Chicago a lot more this year with new management, even though they were worse this past year. I liked Patrick Kane. I liked Jonathan Toews when he was there. I liked Duncan Keith. I like Andreas Athanasiou, Max Domi when he was there. I like a lot of these players that have come through and have stayed in Chicago, and I like their future moving forward, especially when they're going to get Connor Bedard, hopefully, in this year's draft. Number 20, the Los Angeles Kings. The Kings, I think, are a very up-and-coming, exciting team. I like Vladislav Gavrikov a lot. I liked Korpisalo. I just think that's their only problem. They need goaltending. That's the biggest thing with them. But yeah, I like a lot of their young guys. I hope Byfield and Turcotte pan out, even though they haven't gotten the shots yet to really do so. But I hope that they do get a chance to in their future. I think they are really good players. They just need to develop. Number 19, the Florida Panthers. Florida, and I look, they made their run to the finals this year. I really enjoyed Florida this season. I liked the Kachuk run; it was enjoyable. But honestly, it felt weird for them to be in the finals. And apart from that, and apart from this year, and apart from last year, and a little bit from the year before in 2021, they were mediocre for a long ass time. So, and I'm actually shocked they actually even made the finals this year, let alone made the playoffs. Because after that trade with Huberdeau, I thought they were done. I thought they were done for. I thought that year where they lost in the second round to the Lightning, I thought that was going to be the best chance they had at a Stanley Cup, and many people thought that as well. But it actually wasn't because they made the finals the following year. But they ran out of gas. That's really what it came down to, why they lost to Vegas. But I was rooting for them. I really was. Number 18, the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2021. That was probably one of the most boring Cup Finals ever. I don't know if that's better. I don't know if it's better than Vegas and Florida, but it was definitely hella boring. Um, but I really enjoyed their run. I love Cole Caulfield. I love some of the guys they're putting together down there. I liked Carey Price when he was in town. I liked Ilya Kovalchuk during that stretch. And that was when I was starting out on YouTube. And I remember seeing Kovalchuk score that overtime winner against, I think it was Los Angeles, in fact. I just really enjoyed watching some of the players on Montreal. And they've been bad the past couple of years. So it's been difficult to really captivate that and enjoy them as much as I want to, but I do think in the coming years they will have a brighter future. Number 17, I have the New York Rangers, and the Rangers are a very popular team on this channel, and they have been for a few years. I enjoy talking about the Rangers on here. I enjoy watching Panarin. I enjoy watching Zibanejad. I liked Kreider. I like a lot of their guys. I like Shesterkin a lot. I like the guys who have come through there as well. I like Lafreniere. I like Kako, even though there's a lot of controversy around them being bust and all that. But hey, I still think they have they have chances to develop. And if they win a Stanley Cup, doesn't matter. What do you think of them? Doesn't matter. If they do go all the way, but I don't really like the hiring of Laviolette. But hey, they're a team that can be contending for the next couple of years. 100%. And that takes us out of the realm of teams that I kind of had to rank because I didn't really know where to rank them. Now you got 16 to 1, where they're teams that I genuinely enjoy and I genuinely like. It's hard to rank these as well, though. It really is difficult. Number 16, I have the Washington Capitals. And the Capitals, they won the very first year I got into hockey, Ovechkin won a Stanley Cup. And that was the best year to get into hockey because that was at a time where I loved the Flyers. I didn't have a fandom yet for the Coyotes. I hated the Penguins. And the Capitals were kind of just there. Like, I mean, I always had these conversations with my grandparents, and they're very fun to talk hockey with. And they would say that they hated the Capitals, but they respected Ovechkin. And that's really where this stemmed from. And when they beat Pittsburgh in round 2, I rooted for them all the way. 100%. I rooted for them all the way to go win a Stanley Cup. And I'm glad Ovechkin got one. It was my first year getting into hockey, so I didn't know everything too well. But I still really enjoyed that year of Ovechkin. And that is a year I'll never forget. I don't have it up on screen right now. I think it's in the very top corner. But I do have a Capitals pennant there. And then I do have an Ovechkin pennant that's right in front of me here. So I'm a very avid fan of Ovechkin. And, of course, I have the reverse retro for him as well. So, and we'll get into that in a few more videos because I do want to make videos on that as well. But, that is something that I have been a fan of for a long time. And I'm still really glad I got a cup. 15, Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes, and this is something that was hard. It was hard to rank them at 15th. It's really difficult. I actually want to move them into my top 10. I want to so bad, but there's other teams that are above them that I just enjoy a lot more. But Carolina, I want to see win a Stanley Cup. The way they play hockey, the way they're coached is so phenomenal to me. They're probably, like, if we're talking favorite teams, they're 15th. But if we're talking like teams I love to watch play, they're top 3. Like, they are really enjoyable to watch. They play really well. They don't play as a team. You don't have one star that's flying above everybody else. But with Carolina, it is that, and they play as a team. They're really fun to watch, and I really hope they win a Stanley Cup. Really hope it. Number 14, the Calgary Flames. The Flames, computer turned off there. The Flames, I really enjoy watching as well because when I look at Calgary, they're a team that has gone through a lot in the past couple of years. And I made a video on them yesterday, in fact, talking about why won't players sign with the Flames. And that is something that, plays a big role in what kind of makes me feel bad for them, but I also really enjoyed them in the past couple of years. That blockbuster deal with Huberdeau and Tkachuk, the year where they were on top with Tkachuk and Gaudreau, just everything about Calgary, the whole logo, the team, it's really fun, and I like Calgary a lot for that reason. 13, Vancouver, and Vancouver is ranked high because a lot of it is why they piss me off. And look, they're a team that's a lot of fun. It's a very nice city. It's a good team with a lot of good fan bases. With a team with a good fan base, not a lot of fan bases, and they have a lot of fun players like Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, Andre Kuzmenko are some of the few that I think about right now. Connor Garland, one of my favorite players, went there. But they're a team that still pisses me off because they'll make stupid moves. Like the Hronek trade. What the hell was that? What the hell are you thinking getting Hronek after trading away Bo Horvat? It just did not make sense to me. And it's weird because they make moves where they want to rebuild, where they want to build this team to be better, and then they make a move where they want to contend for the playoffs. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So Vancouver, I don't see them making the playoffs anytime soon, but they are one of the more enjoyable teams that I like watching when they're good. And the Bruce Boudreau era was a prime role in why they're this high. Buffalo Sabres at number 12. And Buffalo is it part of the reason why because I feel bad for them? Yes. But I think Buffalo's going to be a really good team next couple of years. Like the guys that they have, Savoie, Dahlin, Power, Cousins, Tuck, just to name a few, Tage Thompson, just a few of those guys. Like they're really fun and really enjoyable to watch. And that's why I love watching Buffalo. And I think they're going to be a team that's going to be good in the next couple of years. And when I make a video on this, if I make a video on this again, they will 100% be higher. Number 11, the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings as well are a team that, back in the day, of course, honestly, I'm wearing a Red Wings chain, gift from my grandparents. And that's also a factor because my parents and my uncle were Red Wings fans. So I was kind of, wrapped into that, and they would tell me the stories about them winning the Cups in the 90s because, of course, I'm only 16, so I was not alive for that. But, the Red Wings, I think they have a bright future ahead. It's just a matter of time before they're going to be good again, and I really hope it's soon because they have a really passionate fan base. I have a lot of good friends that are Red Wings fans, so I definitely hope they're better. Top 10, number 10 is the Devils, and the Devils is solely because of this past year. This year was really fun, seeing guys like Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Timo Meier, just all of those guys, rise up, and Eric Holla, who got signed today. Just overall, a really enjoyable team, and I have them ranked the number one team for next year. I do. And I think that they're going to win a cup within the next 3 years. 100%. I really do think they will. Number 9 is the Ottawa Senators, and the Senators is a lot of the reason why they're this high at number 9 is because I really enjoy talking about them. And the other reason, too, is Claude Giroux is on that team. Claude Giroux is one of my favorite players of all time. I got to make a top 30 favorite players list. That's something I got to do. Rank one favorite player from each team, maybe. Maybe I should do something like that. But, yeah. Claude Giroux, one of my favorite players, but I really enjoy Ottawa. I love talking about Ottawa. I love watching Ottawa, seeing them. And I got to catch them in, when I got into hockey, they were starting in that rebuild, and they were bad the first 2 years I was a hockey fan. But in 2020, when I started this YouTube channel, they started building that team. They got Tim Stutzel. They got Josh Norris. They got Drake Batherson. They traded for guys like Alex DeBrincat, signed Claude Giroux. They got so many guys. Just seeing that team be built is part of the reason why they're this high. I enjoyed watching them a lot. And I enjoyed watching them build this a lot, and I really hope they make the playoffs next year. Absolutely. Number 8, I have the Minnesota Wild. And the Wild is solely because, and a lot of it's because of Kirill Kaprizov, and a lot of it's because some of the other guys there. I like Matt Dumba a lot. I like Jonas Brodin. I liked Capo Kakinen and Devon Dubnyk when he was in there. I like Marc-Andre Fleury a lot too. That's a huge factor, but I really enjoyed Minnesota this year. I just hope they can finally get past that first round slump. I hope they eventually do it at some point. Next, then I have the not Edmonton, Dallas Stars at 7th. Sorry, and Dallas in my first year of being on YouTube making content, they made the Stanley Cup Finals in the bubble, and that was very fun to watch. That series against the Avalanche was probably my favorite series of all time that I've ever watched. Very enjoyable. Fights, hits, goals, comebacks, everything was in that series. It was a lot of fun to watch, and that is why the Stars are ranked so high. I haven't gotten to the Avalanche yet, but we will. And the Stars are one of the teams that I love watching. Jason Robertson, Jamie Benn, Joe Pavelski, Tyler Seguin, Miro Heiskanen, and Nils Lundqvist, Jake Ottinger, Ben Bishop when he was there. Just so many guys. Yanni Hakanpää as well. Like, there's just, I could go on and on about Dallas. I love watching Dallas. Number 6, the Edmonton Oilers. And as you can tell, I have a Connor McDavid picture behind me. Because Connor McDavid's a big factor in that. I enjoy watching McDavid a lot. He's the best player in the league, no question. Leon Draisaitl as well. And I also got to see this team get built. Mainly because, like, in 2018, they already had McDavid. They already had Draisaitl. They already had guys. But seeing them year by year kind of build this team, get Yamamoto, get Nugent Hopkins, get Evan Bouchard in the draft, seeing guys like Milan Lucic and Zach Cassidy, I thought was awesome too. But seeing them build that team as well was also a lot of fun too. So Edmonton at 6. Number 5 in the top 5, I have the Seattle Kraken at 5. Because Seattle is a newer team and they came into the NHL when I was in my, 3rd season of doing YouTube coverage. And I really enjoyed watching them last year and this year as well. Because, that last year, they were not good. They were last in the division, but they still were entertaining. They sold out every year. And that is, every game. And that shows that they are truly a hockey city. And seeing them go far in this year's playoffs, even though they got Dave Haxtell behind the bench, and I hated Haxtell when he was in Philadelphia, seeing just a bunch of misfits play really well against the Stanley Cup champions Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, a lot of my other favorite teams, coincidentally, they're all like right next to each other in the list, but they are a team that just I love. I love them, and they have a lot of misfits too. They have a bright future. Matty Beniers a big one, and I just can't wait to see what they're gonna build with this team for the next couple of years. And they could very well win a Stanley Cup like Vegas in the next few years. I think they can. If they play the way they have in the past couple of years, they will. No doubt. Number 4, the Colorado Avalanche. And the Avalanche I enjoy a lot because they won a Stanley Cup, and that was one of my favorite things, seeing them win, and it was one of my favorite years of hockey and YouTube in general. Last season was a lot of fun, and I liked the Avalanche. I like Nathan McKinnon. I like Cale Makar. I like Bowen Byram. They're a young and fun team, and of course, I'm going to enjoy watching them a lot, and they're really good. And it stinks they lost in round 1 this year to the Kraken, but if it weren't for that, the Kraken would not be as high as they are. So I like the Avalanche a lot. Top 3. And the top 3 is, you could argue the top 3 is consensus, because with Boston, and I've talked about this before in many other favorite team rankings, but Boston's at 3. And with Boston being at 3, it's a surprise, because mainly, like, you think of what my favorite team is, like, why the hell would Boston be so high? I really disliked Boston in the first couple of years. In fact, I think the first year I did this, they were 30th or 31st. One of those two. And Boston's risen up so high for me because there's so many fans out there that are Boston fans that I really enjoy talking hockey with. I really enjoy, like, watching their content. TKD BJ Max, he's one of my favorite content creators. Whether it's on TikTok or YouTube, he's really fun. And I got the opportunity to be friends with him. It's amazing. And as well as that too, I loved watching their team. I love talking about their team on here. I love watching their team build from the ground up. It sucks they lost to Florida in the first round. It does suck. But I wasn't surprised, really. And they're a team that, they've risen from 30th to 3rd. So they really are the team that I really I like a lot more than I have in the past couple of years. Number 2. And number 2, people will know this, it's the Arizona Coyotes. And the reason why the Coyotes are ranked so high is because of how Arizona, with me, is a small market. They're a team that is a much smaller market than other fan bases in the NHL. Like, let's say Boston, for example, they're a huge fan base. Avalanche, big fan base. Kraken, they're relatively new, but big fan base. Stars, big fan base. Oilers, big fan base. They're all teams that like have big fan bases. That's part of the reason why I liked Arizona, because they were the underdog. They were the underdog team for a few years there, and they had good guys like Ekman Larson, Garland. Keller is literally my second favorite player of all time, and is part of the reason why I'm even a Coyotes fan. And just seeing them, go through all the relocation rumors, I wanted them to succeed, and a part of it too is that like I set my expectations extremely low for them, and that's why I enjoy them a lot more than I do other teams. Because like back in the day, like when I was like when in 2021 and 2022, before I really started committing to this, I watched the Coyotes a lot more, and watching them and like I had an expectation like if they won, I'd be happy. If they scored, I'd be happy. If they lost, I'd be like, it's all right, not bad. And if they like made the playoffs, I'd be extremely happy. And they made the playoffs in 2020 with the weird play-in round thing, but it was weird. But I am happy they made it that year. Brad Richardson created a lot of memories for me. Just overall, Arizona, for that reason, is one of my favorite teams, and I really hope they don't relocate. Would I root for them afterwards? Probably, but like I don't know though. I'm not connected to Arizona like other people are, because of course I live in Pennsylvania, so it's definitely that factor. But at number one, it won't surprise anyone, I have the Philadelphia Flyers. And the Flyers is mainly because I have lived in the Philadelphia area my entire life. I have been a Flyers fan for forever. And of course, I'm going to like them a lot. And they're going to be my favorite team. I've gone to numerous Flyers games. I've posted vlogs on the YouTube channel. I've ranted about the Flyers on here. I've made it very clear, and it should be clear to almost everyone on here, that the Flyers are my favorite team. And I know Flyers fans can be rowdy. I try not to be, but when we are good, you will see that come out in me. But yeah, overall, I love Philadelphia. I love Joel Farabee. I like the direction where we're going. As much as Chuck Fletcher pissed me off, and as much as Ron Hextall pissed me off, with Danny Briere in the direction that we're going, there's no way they won't be my favorite team in a few more years. But yeah, anyways, let me know your thoughts down below on my list. It took about 33 minutes, so a long video for y'all. But thank you all very much for watching. Fry Sport, really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe down below if you are new. And yeah, my voice is starting to die here, but thank you all very much for watching all the way through, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.